A hanging shade that was once in an estate in Gloucester, Massachusetts at Eastern Point ended up in the guest house and later appeared on the show. The shade was made by Tiffany Studios, a decorative arts company which was in operation from 1878 to 1933. The company was run by Louise Comfort Tiffany. Tiffany Studios was best known for their stained glass pieces, and the design of the shade clearly shows that it's Tiffany. Some parts of shade were replaced, but this didn't affect the value in any way. Its value was between $100,000 to $150,000.
Good to know.
The eldest always get the best things.
Originally it was my grandmother's, and when she died, the family gathered around a table and had to sort out her jewellery, and my mother, being the eldest, had the first choice, and she chose this.
The piece is a French necklace made of white diamonds that is absolutely admirable.
Today, it's exactly the sort of diamond jewellery that people want. It's not ostentatious.
The jewellery did not fall short with its value of £8,000 to £10,000. This man purchased the autographs of horror movie actors from a dealer for $2. His profit was quite impressive. The signatures include that of Lon Chaney, who is fondly called the man of 1,000 faces because of his versatility in movies, Dracula's main character, Bela Lugosi, also Lanchester, main actress in Bride of Frankenstein, and signatures of the cast of House of Dracula. The collection's value was $2,500 to $3,100.
Wow. Yes? Well, I would say you made a monstrously good deal.
Dad rescued this painting from the trash, and more than 50 years later, it is worth thousands of dollars. The painting was made by John Ray, who was an American illustrator of children's books. Ray made the painting for the book Alice in Wonderland, written by Lewis Carroll. Value for the painting was $10,000.
Wow.
Not bad for something rescued from the
Bad,
trash.
not bad for the trash, no. Yeah.
A collection of signed Edward Gorey items owned by this lady shows how big of a fan she is. Edward Gorey was an American writer and illustrator who wrote books including The Doubtful Guest and Amphigoray Again. The lady's collection had some interesting items such as his book titled The Green Beads, a rice-filled doll named Figbash, and a Bahumbug doll. The collection as a whole was appraised at $5,000.
Oh my gosh. It's very hard to believe.
Would you rock a bat necklace if it cost thousands of dollars? This guest on the show inherited the necklace from her grandmother, who received it as a gift from Mrs. Clark of the Clark sewing family. It is an Art Nouveau jewelry made out of cast sterling silver and sea pearls. The Art Nouveau style was championed by Samuel Byng in 1895, but the trend soon came to an end when World War I began. The appraiser placed a value of $4,000 to $6,000 for the necklace.
I'm shocked. Thank you, Grandma.
This mask was returned after the buyer claimed it was cursed and making him have nightmares. It was owned by the guest's sister, who found it in a storage unit and picked it up. The guest collected it from her sister after she claimed it was cursed and didn't want it. Could this be the case? The mask originates from the tribes of Igoy and Widum in Nigeria and Cameroon. It was used by the people during funerals. This means it's really cursed, right?
I love this mask, and I'll tell you, don't worry about being cursed. I've had a number of them.
Okay.
And so far they haven't done anything bad to me, so that's good.
That's good.
It was valued at $1,500 to $2,500.
Wow. And I'm so excited because it's real.
This painting by Frank Moss Bennett is greatly admired that it has been reproduced many times. Frank Moss was a British painter popular for his historical paintings. The father of the guest purchased it for £60 in 1940, and the value for the painting during the show was £5,000 to £7,000.
Really?
And might even be worth more.
Good Lord.
A collector of masks since the early 80s purchased this mask that was made in Africa for $35. It is an initiation mask of the Makanda people of Tanzania and is called Lipiko. The mask is used during the initiation of young children. It was valued between $500 to $700.
Oh, that's great.
Is that higher than 35?
Oh, yes, that's...
This doll looks like one of the characters in a creepy doll movie. Would you agree? It was inherited by the guest from his grandmother. The head of the doll was made by a German company named Simon and Halbig, while the body of the doll was made by another German doll manufacturing company called Kammer and Reinhardt. The value for the doll was $2,000 to $2,500.
Wow. I had no idea it was that much.
If you are into scary decor, then you might be fascinated by this piece. The piece is a product of the Weller Pottery that is meant to serve as a humidor for cigarettes. The owner of the piece is a family member of Samuel Weller, who founded Weller Pottery in 1872. It is one out of the 6 that was produced by the company, making it a rare piece. On the show, it was valued between $2,000 to $3,000, but this dropped to $1,000 to $1,500 in 2018. Maybe not many people are into scary decor after all.
I don't think I'd want to meet him in a dark alley.
A beautiful Victorian piece that could be doubled as a brooch and hairpiece was brought in by the owner, who inherited it from her mother. It was made with 7 carats of diamond, gold and silver.
I never realised that was there.
Well, it's a nice little touch that the Victorians were excellent at doing. What it meant was that you could remove the centre at the back and you could sometimes convert it.
The value was £2,500 to £6,000. It's cool to hear that your jewellery costs a lot of money, but to hear that it dates back to the 1st century, that's just marvellous. The decorative glasses used in making this bracelet during the 1800s are of Roman origin.
They all date from around about the 1st century AD. So we're going back to almost 2 millenniums, I suppose, ago.
These glasses alone make the bracelet a very unique piece.
Even fragments of these rare big glass are valuable because complete bowls are worth hundreds of thousands of pounds. They just don't exist. Very rarely come on the market. Even fragments are worth hundreds of pounds each.
The charming piece was valued at £6,000 to £10,000.
Heavens.
It's just lovely.
It's beautiful. I definitely won't wear it now.
A regular reader of the Chicago Daily News bagged a valuable signed letter for $400 after her favorite columnist, Mike Rocchio, held an auction for a spiteful letter he received from American singer Frank Sinatra, where he condemned an article Mike wrote about him. The letter was valued at $15,000.
Are you all right?
Oh, yes, give me a seat. Oh, man. Are they kidding me? Did you all hear that? Did you all hear that? Yes. Oh, he offered me $100 for it. You can't have it for $100. Isn't that super? Oh. I'm going to give that money to, if I ever sell it, the money goes to Salvation Army.
Oh, that would be
so
good.
The more the merrier.
There you go.
Oh, listen, you just made my...
If you're familiar with the Dick Tracy comic in the Chicago Daily newspaper, then you'd be fascinated by this strip. The artist of the comic was an American cartoonist called Chester Gould. The comic's debut was in 1931, and the strip brought by the guest was 1932 edition, which was rarely found in the market. The value for the strip was $3,000 to $5,000.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. My goodness, I had no idea.
This figure is giving Halloween decor inspo, and it cost just $10. The piece is an example of American folk art and was made in the 20th century. Show's appraiser mentioned that the piece would value around $4,000 to $5,000.
Wow. Jeez. Well, it sat on my front porch during Halloween for 25 years in October for the whole month.
Right.
And he had the corn stalks around him and everything, and I think we're going to be bringing him in there.
You got to find another centerpiece.
I know.
Yeah. He's delicious.
He's quite a guy.
Son of artist Demetrios Jameson brought in one of his wonderful artworks. Demetrios' son said that his father made the painting around 1947 when he was a student at Washington University. Demetrios was a student of Max Beckmann. He derived some of his style from Max's teachings. The painting brought by his son is that of a lady figure, which is a detailed piece of art that depicts surrealism. The painting was valued at $15,000.
Oh, great.
I think he was a very important artist.
Well, I agree. I think so as well.
Well, you're a good son.
It's been more than 100 years now, and Titanic is still a subject of discussion all around the world. A daughter to a doctor, Edward McGee, on the Carpathia and Titanic, came with the awards he received in recognition of his efforts to rescue passengers. The awarded items include medals and a plaque. Items such as these are personal and can hardly be traded for money. The value placed on the items was £50,000.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
This item is not particularly creepy, but it isn't Halloween if you don't see witches and wizards, right? The first edition of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, autographed by the book's illustrator, W.W. Denslow, appeared on the show. It was written by Frank Baum. The owner's father purchased the book in the 1960s out of his obsession for the book series. Denslow's autograph and original illustration, which was on the front page of the book.
If we were an auction estimate, we'd put 60 to 80,000 estimate.
Oh, my goodness.
That's an estimate.
And it's not for sale.
Good.
George Smith's design, documented in a book in the 1800s, was later used as a hallmark to design this fender. The piece is a combination of black iron and gilded brass. The owner had bought the piece 21 years prior for £140. He profited quite well with the new value of £4,000.
Best one. I say it again. It's the best one I've ever seen.
He bought a Rufino Tamayo lithograph from an antique dealer, but had little knowledge about its worth. Rufino Tamayo is a well-known Mexican painter who won awards such as Gold Medal of Merit in the Fine Arts of Spain. Tamayo used few colors for his artworks because he had the belief that it gave the art greater force and meaning. Aside from the can top that somehow made its way into the lithograph, the guest painting was in great condition. Its value was $4,000 to $10,000, but in 2022 this topped up to $10,000 to $15,000. This appraiser gets emotional when talking about the guest's piece. It is a Chinese piece which was acquired by the guest's grandparents when they were in China. The piece is a marble lion from the Tang dynasty, which was between the 7th and 10th century. Tang dynasty was founded by the Lai family. The Tang dynasty period was marked as the golden age of poetry and sculpture. Value for this exquisite marble lion was $120,000 to $250,000.
Wow. For insurance purposes. I'm just really pleased.
So it's worth lugging it in here.
Iconic actress Marilyn Monroe once again makes jaws drop on the Antiques Roadshow. A dress worn by the actress in the movie, Some Like It Hot, appeared on the show. The man who brought it in received the costume from a friend who is a Hollywood costume designer. The costume was made by 3-time Academy Award-winning costume designer Ori Kelly. The dress was valued at $150,000 to $250,000.
Oh my God. Whoa.
Grandfather forgot to include a gold clock in his will, but father came to the rescue and saved it from being sold out. It is a French clock called four-glass mantle made in the 19th century.
We call them four-glass clocks for the very logical reason that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 glasses in the case. And usually they're much plainer than this.
The case of the guest's clock had been exposed to harsh conditions, causing it to turn green.
The outside, I suspect at some time there's been some very acidic atmosphere, and you've actually got green verdigris.
Yes, it's bad. That's very bad.
The appraiser noted that without fixing the current condition of the clock, it would be worth £2,000. Instruments used by doctors in the 19th century look so intimidating and frightening. This woman held on to the items used by her husband's great-grandfather, who was a physician. She even stores a jar of teeth in her kitchen. The item's valued at $1,000.
I always said I want to hold my legs together when I sing.
What did you think about Madame the Puppet's facial structure? A sweet fan who is a friend to the guest got gifted one of the first versions of the puppet after throwing a surprise birthday party for the maker of the puppet show, Wayland Flowers. Wayland's puppet show with Madame was vastly popular during the late 20th century. Madame Puppet's value was $15,000 to $20,000.
Holy Moses.
So it's a nice gift.
Madam.
You had a good eye.
You're quite the girl.
Marvin Gaye's passport somehow landed in a Motown collector's possession after finding it inside an album he purchased. Marvin Gaye is an American musician who ranked as number 20 in Rolling Stone's Greatest Musician of All Time in 2023. The appraiser had noted that passports were great collections, and his would be valued around $20,000.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding you. Nothing comes up from Marvin Gaye. It's not a really common thing to see Marvin Gaye memorabilia.
Wow. I never would have thought. I mean, I'm just shocked. I mean, wow. Oh gosh, thank you.
The springtime radiates warmth, and so does this spring painting of John Samuel Raven. John Samuel was an English self-taught landscape painter whose works are more popular than the artist himself. A woman who brought the painting had inherited it from her parents. It is a pre-Raphaelite painting done during the Victorian period.
It's mid-Victorian, painted under the influence of the Pre-Raphaelites. That's to say, the painters who painted with very strong colours, very minutely, in the most wonderful detail. And this is a great example.
The value placed on it was $6,000 to $10,000.
Right.
And take the cobwebs off as well.
Don't they have?
The infamous bank robber Willie Sutton made this plaster head and hand to use as a clone during an attempt to escape from prison.
Now, reportedly, what Sutton had done was, over the course of several months, possibly even years, he made this false head using hair from the barber shop, and there's actually real human hair. Same with the eyelashes. We have no idea where he got the pigments.
Right.
Where do you find paint in prison? You just can't go to the store and get color with toothpaste in pink.
Yeah, but they're very creative. I'm sure they mixed things and made things up and everything. You know, as far as the plaster, I heard he went to the dentist a lot.
The show's guest had gotten the item from his grandfather, who ran the prison where Willie was. Willie was obsessed with carrying out well-planned robberies and revealed that he stole over $2 million from his robberies. This piece was valued at $2,500 to $3,000.
Wow, that's nice. That's very nice. That's surprising.
If you went shopping for house decorations, will this piece attract you? The family of this lady felt it was pleasant to hang this gargoyle pottery in the living room of their home. The pottery is from the Renaissance Revival movement that began in the early 19th century. The Renaissance Revival period was a rebirth of 16th century Italian Renaissance. The gargoyle pottery was valued between $2,000 to $3,000.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's wonderful.
While on vacation in Jamaica, this lady's grandmother stumbled across a sculptor's studio and paid a $500 deposit for an unfinished piece to be completed. The sculpture was made by Richard Barthe, an American sculptor whose works were based on spirituality and African-American history. The Guest family didn't fancy the sculpture much, but after being valued at $15,000 to $25,000...
My kids have been putting Christmas cracker hats on his head. I should maybe put him a little higher up so they can't reach him.
They might have to rethink it. This man seemed like he was about to pass out after hearing the value of his great-great-grandfather's portrait. The portrait was made by Lawrence Alma Tadema, and the subject, Leopold Lowenstein, was Tadema's engraver. Lawrence Tadema was renowned and one of the wealthiest artists of the 19th century. In 2010, Tadema's painting was sold at auction in Sotheby's for $36 million, making it the highest amount achieved by a Victorian painter. Leopold's portrait was valued at £200,000 to £300,000.
All right. Yeah.
Girlfriends are fond of keeping their boyfriend's clothing, and John F. Kennedy's girlfriend was no exception. John F. Kennedy was the President of the United States, and according to the guest, Kennedy had met a girl, Gunilla von Post, when he visited France, and the two dated for a period of time. Letters from J.F. Kennedy to Gunilla were sold for $80,000 at auction. This particular leather jacket is valued at £200,000 to £300,000.
That is a lot of money.
Beautiful Japanese woodblock prints led to Impressionism, made from the 17th century. To the early 20th century, the prints are mostly paintings of kabuki actors and referred to as actor prints. The guest's album was painted by a man called Utagawa Toyokuni. The album had a total of 80 pages and was valued at £2,500 to £3,500.
Really? 25 shillings has worked into £2,500.
Imagine having this poster on the wall of your bedroom and waking up from a nightmare to see it. The owner was gifted the poster by a friend. The poster is that of a Dutch magician whose stage name was Carlini. His real name was Ludwig Trinker. He mainly held performances in Berlin before the World War II. Carlini wasn't as popular as other big names in the industry. His poster was valued at $1,000. So ironic that these pieces are more valued when they are in a decomposed state. My father was a bottle digger and had gotten them when he used to bottle dig. The bottles were made between the 17th to 18th century to serve wine on tables.
A little bit taller, and these would date from 1730, 1740, possibly up to the 1750, getting more and more taller, gradually coming into the wine bottle shapes we know today.
Each bottle was valued according to their condition, falling in the range of £60 to £500.
More of these in good condition, they'll be £1,000 each while we're going for a dive.
Lovely, thank you.
Alexander Calder had given her aunt this mobile as an appreciation for a needlepoint pillow she did for one of his pieces. Alexander Calder was an American sculptor known for his mobiles. These mobiles are sort of kinetic sculptures and are made with thin wire and aluminum. The guest has had the piece since 1985 and had been given a valuation of $30,000 in the past. But on the show, the value for this piece was $400,000 to $1 million.
Oh my God.
Not bad for a pillow.
Oh.
Dicken medals presented to racing pigeons used during the Second World War were brought to the Roadshow, and they have such an interesting story. The pigeons were used to carry messages from France to the UK during the war. They were transported in a very fascinating way.
And they were parachuted in. The pigeons were actually tied into a small bundle, so they couldn't obviously fly away, and they were dropped out of an aircraft over to the resistance fighters or the frontline troops and so on.
The items were valued at £180,000 to £200,000.
Wow. Wow. Our members will be pleased.
Bronze figures can have precise contours too. It was made by Edward Droot, a French sculptor who is known for his allegorical sculptures. Edward studied sculpture under prominent sculptor Emile Thomas. The guest's bronze figure was a magnificent piece of a quarry worker that was made in the 19th century. It was valued at £2,000 to £3,000.
And it was more than I could have dreamed of. It was a fabulous late 19th century Remington portrait.
When an appraiser talks about an item with so much passion, you can tell it's a gem. Great-grandson of the subject in a painting that was done by Frederick Remington hardly knew the value when he was rough handling it.
You're the first for me. I've never reprimanded a guest for manhandling a painting before.
Frederick Remington is a well-known American painter who specializes in Western America art. Frederick had made the painting as part of a military series in El Paso. The painting was valued at $600,000 to $800,000.
I was hoping I would be wildly exuberant. I am.
It is now displayed in Birmingham, Alabama Museum. A sculpture that has been in the family for years dates back to the 19th century. It was made by Jules Dallo, a French sculptor who is well versed in realism sculptures.
So he's a key figure, and his way of working, of course, takes us straight to Rodin.
Dallow was once commissioned to sculpt Queen Victoria's granddaughters in her private chapel at Windsor. The sculpture brought to the Roadshow was of the guest's great-grandmother. It had a few cracks on it and was valued at £20,000 to £25,000.
He wouldn't be far adrift. He's a really major figure.
His kids used this £500,000 piece as a goalpost, if only they knew its worth. The piece is Japanese, made in 1874 by a French company called Christoffel, founded by Charles Christoffel. The exquisite piece was displayed by Christoffel at an exhibition in 1874. It was first valued at £10,000 during the show in 1991, but was sold for £560,000 20 years later.
Going to 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 at £7,000, 8,000, 9,000.
560,000?
Yeah.
Right.
A dollhouse racks up thousands of dollars in value. The dollhouse was made by a German manufacturer, Moritz Gottschalk.
So when you look at the front of it, this whole front facade that it has going, this just screams Gottschalk. This has all this ornate detail and finish work, glass windows, just an architectural piece in itself. These are really as good as it gets. This is a larger size of a Gottschalk house.
The owner is a miniature rebuilder, and he revamped the exterior of the dollhouse, which he got from a friend as a gift. With the condition of the house, the appraiser placed a value between $6,000 to $9,000.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, nice house.
That's so amazing. Thank you.
Nice piece.
Thank you so much.
The poet Asen Siegel said, "Today's rejection may become tomorrow's acceptance." The saying is true in the case of this painting that was made by Harold Harvey, a Newlyn School painter of Cornish descent. In 1961, the painting was rejected for valuing too low at an auction house, Christie's. The painting finally regained its reputation on the Roadshow after being valued at £8,000 to £10,000. The guest believes that this is unattractive, but what does the appraiser say about the value? The cup was made in 1890 during the Victorian era and inspired by Italian Renaissance design. It was manufactured by 4 London pottery manufacturers called the Martin Brothers. A crack on the cup affected its value, making the final appraisal £400 to £600. Keep your antiques safe, people. Ever heard of children's book illustrator Tasha Tudor? The original drawing of Tasha's first book, Pumpkin Moonshine, which he made for her niece, was acquired by the guest during the auction. The book was rejected multiple times before getting published by Simon & Schuster.
When she first did it, the publishers didn't want it, and
No,
she had it.
they thought it looked like a seed catalog, they said.
Yeah, they thought it looked like a seed catalog. It was her first item. Many times, first-time authors, they get rejected.
Until her death in 2008, Tasha published 12 books as a writer and illustrator.
Would easily go for $8,000 to $10,000 in a retail bookstore, children's art shop, or so on.
A cleaning lady who cracked the plates in this set would have probably been fired if the family knew how much it would affect the value. The father to the guest on the show was an art dealer who bought 8 out of the 10 plate set. The designer of the plate is an artist named Arthur Bradbury. Bradbury designed the plates at the Poole Pottery Factory in 1832.
We find always they have this inscription, 1932, and the designer and the painter.
Value for each plate, depending on its condition, was between £150 to £1,000. This man was so in love with this painting that he decided to pay for it, even though his cook's salary couldn't afford it. In 1985, he paid the sum of $1,100 in installments to purchase it from a gallery. The painting was made by Howard Finster, an American artist who said he was ordained by God to spread the gospel through art. It was valued at $15,000 to $25,000.
Really? That's great.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. Good for Howard. I knew it was very special when I saw it.
A beautifully designed wooden sofa table remains intact in its original form. The table was made from mahogany in the early 19th century.
Now, it's made of the most wonderful cut from mahogany. It has this curious sort of grain in it. Very hard timber, very difficult to work.
It was passed on to the guest by her great-great-aunt. The table was valued at £10,000 to £12,000.
Gosh.
Right.
Gosh.
So good.
Golly
Good for our
gosh.
prudence, I say.
Yes.
All right.
Fantastic.
This man's father was a baseball umpire, so he got to meet many popular baseball players. During a game when he was younger, he got to sit next to Jackie Robinson.
What were you thinking?
Remember thinking, God, to see a big biceps.
He even got a signed photo afterward, which he brought to the Roadshow. The photo was signed by Jackie Robinson and Roy Campanella. It had a value of $6,000 to $10,000 on the show, but increased in 2022 with a value of $8,000 to $25,000.
Wow, thank you. That's really wonderful, really wonderful.
One of the most celebrated sculptures made by a prominent sculptor shocks the owner with its value. It was made by Joseph Bernard, a French sculptor who is regarded as one of the founding fathers of modern sculpture. The sculpture belonged to the great-grandparents of the guest, who were based in Paris. Its value was as high as £40,000.
No.
Watch more entertaining videos on our channel